So Jason, you've had a chance to look at the state budget now for a few days and get a better idea of what's in there. How would you handicap some of the proposals that Governor Walker is making to the legislature?
Sure. Well, Dave, I think one thing's clear. There are some things that are going to pass the Republican legislature, I think, pretty easily. One of them is this repeal of prevailing wage and project labor law, sort of removing those from the playing field going forward. I think that's something lawmakers will pass.
You were saying that could be that could be related to transportation funding.
The argument will be made.
Those projects cheaper to do.
Right, that's going to be the argument. The opponents will push back on that, but I don't think they'll succeed. There'll be some form of tax cuts in this budget, clearly. If there'll be the income tax cuts that the governor proposed at the level he proposed, we'll see. I think there's not a good chance for a gas tax increase, just very small chance of that at this point. Also, I don't think it's very likely that the DNR will be split up. As that agency, there'd been some talk that the natural resources would be split up. I don't think we're going to see that in this session based on the reaction I've seen so far.
And there's an ongoing reorg there anyway, right?
Right. The governor has proposed sort of a lighter version of that, which would be to just reorganize the agency. I think that will happen, and then the people that want even more will probably in 2 years see, are they satisfied, or do they want to keep pounding away for completely splitting the agency? And then there are a number of issues that I think are more up in the air. So here's several of them. One, there's not going to be a gas tax increase, I think, in this budget, but could there be some form of new revenue for road building in the state? That's something that remains to be seen.
What could that look like? Are we talking tolling?
Not in the short term. In the long term, the state could move towards tolling. The state could increase fees on vehicles, have some kind of registration fee. The state could potentially put new fees, like on hybrids, or do things like that. They could raise revenues from some other part of the state government and then put those into the road fund, or you could pull spending out of that road fund, like say transit spending. You could take it out of that and put it into a fund that's supported by sales and income taxes rather than gas taxes. But then people aren't going to like that, because then they compete with schools for that money, and that'll rub some people the wrong way.
So what else is on your list of maybes?
A UW tuition cut that the governor wants. Republican lawmakers have just not reacted well to that. At the same time, as we were just talking about, it could be very popular out in the public domain. So I think it'll be up to whether or not the public convinces Republican lawmakers to go along with that or not. The governor obviously wants quite a bit of new money for K-12 schools and some for the University of Wisconsin as well. I don't think Republicans are going to go along with all of that money. So it's a question of, they will go along with some of it. How much will they go along with? And then the governor has a number of changes he wants to make to welfare programs, to require more able-bodied people to be working to receive benefits, get tested for drugs, just a whole variety of things. Some of those are clearly going to be passed by Republican lawmakers. I think the question will be, how much will the legislature and the federal government, which has very often a say in these matters, how much will they ultimately sign off on, and will we see put into practice in the next 2 years?
Let me back up to the tuition cut. As you pointed out, that would seem to be a fairly popular thing among the general public.
The public likes paying less.
The public always likes paying less.
And paying more, they don't like that.
They don't like that. So why wouldn't Republican lawmakers go for that?
I think in some ways it may have been as simple as they have been freezing tuition for UW schools for 4 years now, and I think they felt that was working well, that was popular with their constituents, and that maybe they had quelled a little bit the criticism of the cost of higher ed. So I don't think they went into this budget thinking there was a huge problem there. The governor really did not consult them, that I've heard about that policy. So I think they were blindsided by it and may ultimately feel like they don't have any buy-in for that proposal. And I think if they approve it, it will be because they hear from people out in their districts that say, boy, that tuition cut, I really like that idea.
Okay. Well, Jason Stein, thanks so much.
Thank you, Dave.